Yo, what's going on, guys? Altair here, back again at you with another YouTube video. Today, we're actually going to be doing something different. We're going to be reacting to probably the worst Yu-Gi-Oh! Take video of all time. And take this with a grain of salt, because I don't know if the YouTuber is trolling or is trying to cause some type of deal, but the opinion that you're about to watch is one of probably the most horrendous opinion I've ever seen in video games history. So we're gonna go point by point. We're gonna let him talk his piece, but at the same time, in the end of this video, don't go anywhere, because we will prove each major point, anyways, that he had wrong about Yu-Gi-Oh! Floodgates. So let's get right into it. Alrighty, guys, here we are. It is a quick video just now, so let's go right into it.
So here's a question for you guys. Why did Nichiria Rosewhip get banned, but Last Warrior from Another Planet is a-okay at 3? What makes this one bannable, and yet this one is allowed to be freed from its decade-long prison? So
I'll explain why. So I'm gonna just go through and then explain everything. The reason why Nichiria Rosewhip is banned is because it's searchable by 2 archetypes are very easy to combo, whether it's plants with Nichiria or Kultun. So it is a very easily searchable floodgate that you can put on the field right away. As a matter of fact, I know it's gonna go into the point of I don't care that you can side deck it in the best of 3, but in the best of 1 4-man Master Duel, I'm a Master Duel player. It doesn't matter. This card sucks in Master. It doesn't. You could Rotary Reveal if they see you have Droplet or any form of board breakers. You do Nichiria Rosewhip, and you absolutely still lost. You can't board break Kultun. That's why this card needed to get banned. The Last Warrior from Another Planet affects everybody. Affects everybody. That's the difference. It's a card that affects everybody, therefore you could grind it out with the opponent. With Nichiria Rosewhip, it only affects you, and you have to use spells, especially going second. And Kultun as a go first combo deck. So when Kultun throws Rosewhip on you, on top of 2 Omni negates, that's why one should get banned and the other nobody cares about, because it's gonna come out in a specific situation that nobody also cares about.
And when you look at these cards side by side, one of these is clearly more egregious than the other one. But this change was made on the same ban list, so what gives?
Rosewhip is more egregious than the Last Warrior. There is no way you could convince me the Last Warrior is more egregious than Rosewhip. That is such a 0.001% situation, and like I said, both players are targeted by this, not like Rosewhip.
So to find out, I did what any morally questionable card player would do, and I decided to give Floodgates a go. And by embracing this evil, maybe I can discover something that I didn't really see before. And to be honest, I think my original stance on Floodgates was unfair and even wrong. So let's talk about how that was even possible.
Alright, here we go.
And so we have a baseline. Let's start with what my original stance on Floodgates actually was. And originally I felt they were just bad for the game. The whole point of a floodgate is to reduce the amount of interactions in the game to 0, or at least as close to 0 as you can get. And in my head, a healthy game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one where both players have plenty of interaction on both players' turns.
So floodgates, what floodgates do is they force you to go in a certain direction where your deck can literally not go towards. Okay, that's what floodgating is. You're closing the flood. The flood is coming. My deck is the flood, right? Here comes my flood. Gold Sark, Forbidden Droplet, Super Poly, normal summon, and a special summon. Here comes the flood, and here is your gate right in front of it saying, you actually can't do any of that. You gotta wait for one specific card, and then maybe we could talk about you using your flood. That's how floodgates are designed. They're not Yu-Gi-Oh! They're unfun. The only reason why they're designed is so it gives you this this main character Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime syndrome of, oh, I stopped all these cool effects mwahaha with one card that I top decked. I can't believe it. Because there is no reason for floodgates to exist in a competitive setting other than for the casuals. There's zero reason for floodgates exist other than for you to say, oh, it's just so you could have that one card, you know, that you top deck that, you know, maybe for you playing the opponent is not good, but hey, competitively, casually wise, like in the arena, everybody's hyped about it. It's like, oh my god, I can't believe he top decked that. He stopped everybody. Type of deal. So
naturally, Floodgate stands directly in opposition of this philosophy. But recently, Joshua Schmidt made a discussion video that's honestly not related at all to this topic, but it did make me question my view of what healthy Yu-Gi-Oh actually is. Because to him, a healthy game of Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't actually...
All respect to Josh. He plays stun. He plays runic, fucking... I'm about to lose my head here. He plays runic with Sky Striker with other stuff. He loves to stun. Josh loves to stun too. Like, that's the thing. You're watching your videos off a stun player as well. Like, all respect to Josh, but he plays Paleozoic runic, which is the most filthy type of stun. And don't get me wrong, like, I get it. Some of the players would love to play certain stun because maybe the design, maybe blah blah blah. Like, I hands up, like, I play Indiacraft, and Indiacraft is disgusting, but I just love their design, right? Like, so I get it, I completely get it, but you can't just walk past the best runic Paleozoic player and be like, yo, I got my opinion from him. But he literally the deck plays straight floodgates. He's just banishing you, booking you. He's not letting you play the game.
In my view of what healthy Yu-Gi-Oh actually is. Because to him, a healthy game of Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't actually have anything to do with the amount of interactions that both players have on either turn. He looks at it more like it's a puzzle game, where the going first player is the person who's creating a puzzle, and the going second player is the person who has to solve the puzzle. And honestly, this is a comparison that I haven't heard before in this game, but it really resonated.
That's factually true. If you well, it just depends on perspective, right? That have a cup type of full type of thing. But for me, this would be a true perspective of, oh, if I go first, I'm trying to set up the craziest board possible, making sure that you're not able to break through it. And then yeah, go in second, I want to be able to break through your board, right? And that's where I have fun in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is denying you to play going first, and if I go second, I am playing through your denials, right? So that's where Yu-Gi-Oh! Is fun. I don't necessarily think it's 100% a puzzle like in chess, like where if you make a right move, 100% of the time you're winning, right? In Yu-Gi-Oh! If you make the right move, you're still losing, right? So it's slightly different. My camera moved, just excuse me. So it's slightly different, but I have the same perspective.
Normally people compare Yu-Gi-Oh! To fast-paced fighting games, which is
Facts.
fine. I do agree with that. But honestly, the puzzle game philosophy feels more in line with how the game actually plays in my experience. Calling Yu-Gi-Oh! A puzzle game is low-key a base take. And honestly, I do agree with Josh's perspective. Some of the best games that I've personally played so far are
back and forth
games where it's engine versus engine, and really anyone can come out on top. And this philosophy shift from a game about everyone having interactions to this is a puzzle game started to shift my feelings about certain aspects of Yu-Gi-Oh! In general. So with this fresh perspective, I wanted to revisit one of the most highly debated card types in this game, floodgates, and look at
your floodgates, my lord.
How many interactions it promotes, but instead as a puzzle piece that needs to be solved by the opponent. And the first step is actually building the deck that was the book.
No, floodgates are not like this. So you have a Baron de Fleur on the field. Okay, this is what floodgates do. You have a Baron de Fleur on the field. Your puzzle is, if I use this monster, it's gonna negate and destroy it because it's a 1-for-1 interaction. But guess what? I have Droplet, so you know what? I'm gonna Droplet because this guy has an additional effect in the graveyard. Boom! I went past your negate. Whoa! What a way to solve the puzzle. And then here comes anti-spell fragrance, like a crashing truck that is 60 miles per hour, crashing from the overpass on the highway directly into your house, saying, "No, you cannot do that." Do you see the difference? Even if we take in your analogy of, oh, it's a puzzle game and you have to face, Anti-spell fragrance is the truck from the overpass crashing into your house in that situation. It's not. You walk into a escape room and you try to hit the final password, which is Baron de Fleur. You're trying to get past Baron de Fleur, and then a semi just deletes the entire escape room. That's what floodgates are. They're not really a piece of a puzzle. You have to figure it out.
Boogeyman for the first week of the ban list announcement.
This is a filthy deck. This is a filthy deck, but I would not be surprised if you lose this. This deck does not go second at all. Okay, so this deck is horrendous going second, but if it goes first, GG's.
Ashtira Primite with Metamorphosis in there. And at a glance, honestly, this deck does seem kind of cool. It seems like a mid-rangey kind of deck with a lot of ways to recur itself. And if you draw the Metamorphosis, you can turn it into one of two floodgates. It's not just Last Warrior from Another Planet Turbo. There's also this neat little interaction where if you Lordly Load and then use Metamorphosis into Last Warrior from Another Planet, his effect to blow up your own board won't activate. So you get to keep your board and
you keep the floodgate. Yep.
But after playing this deck for multiple days, I kind of came to the conclusion that floodgates are just bad. And I don't mean bad for the game. I just mean like legitimately not great Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Which to me is weird because when you see floodgates...
Okay. This floodgates are bad lol, just draw the outlaw is absolutely ridiculous. This is not an argument. The reason, yes, if you just set one pass and it's just that floodgate, yes, it's terrible. But we're talking about the players are using the floodgate. They're using it on top of Omni negates, sir. There's Omni negates on the field. Like you talk about Rose Whip, for example. Rose Whip is on the field with Cool Tool RS and Zaylin. That is genuinely insane. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if it was just Rose Whip by herself, yeah, I could 1-for-1 Rose Whip, bro. It's cool. But there's Zaylin and RS and Cool Toon Synchro Quick Play Spot I have to worry about on top of the Rose Whip. That's what makes floodgates OP, is because you could run them with actual competent decks.
Discussed online, they talked about like this skillless auto win button, but that really ended up not being the case for me overall. Like, if I actually got the Last Warrior from Another Planet, half the time the opponent was just hitting it with an Imperm or a Droplet, turning it into basically a meatball. Or if Kashira Risehard didn't get outed, people would still be able to play around it and produce a threat. It wasn't just locking people out of the game. Pretty much every time I ended on just floodgates, the opponent would still be able to produce a threat that my public interruption just couldn't solve. And don't get me wrong, are there games where you just build your end board and the opponent scoops? Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is, if you just only have one floodgate out, okay, sure, yeah, I'm gonna be able to play around it. But you have look at your end board right now. You have Droll, my guy. You have neither can special summon monsters. You have Drill Beam and a Super Poly. Of course I'm scooping. What do you mean I'm not scooping?
Absolutely, but that's not actually the norm when playing this deck. And when looking at this game through the lens of a puzzle game, the weaknesses of floodgates just becomes a lot more pronounced. Imagine a deck like Cool Toon as a puzzle. Because it's such a layered end board, it's a very complicated puzzle to solve.
We already went over this explanation of why this is not true, like with the truck analogy.
And not everyone is going to figure out how to do it. But stun decks rely on floodgates as basically their only puzzle piece that they're presenting to the opponent. And if you can find a line to shove down that deep fissure-shaped hole, then stun decks really don't have any kind of fun.
That's again, stun decks don't just play one floodgate. That's like your misconception is, oh, I could just out the floodgate. Guess what? There is 5 floodgates on the field. Or sometimes it's one floodgate with 3 Omni negates on the field. Like, that is what Colton does. That is what Dragotail did with the performal magician that you put in the pendulum. So you have to set the cards first. Like, there is a lot of decks that can abuse floodgates, so are tier 0 decks. And we will get into later on, because he will have a point about floodgates that is absolutely asinine, and we will disprove it right away as well.
Follow up to it. It's like being handed a one-piece puzzle to solve. If you can solve it, they have no other tricks up their sleeve. And I can basically hear the furious typing of keyboards right now of people saying, bro literally just said draw the out, which is kind of true to a degree, but it's a little
Very
more
much.
complicated than that. Even if you have to go down a suboptimal line or just freestyle some combos, generally decks do have a high density of ways to play around a variety of different floodgates. It's usually not enough to end the game right.
Yes, but what about your drill beam and super poly, brother? You have an omni negate set on the field. What about those, brother? I can't interact with you still. You have 2 cards in there that don't allow interactions whatsoever. Meaning, even if I'm playing around your said floodgate piece, you are still interacting with me while I am forced to go down at this interaction with the truck going over from the overpass.
There, but a lot of decks can put themselves in a winning position against floodgates. It's not as uncommon as you would think. And with a lot of these stun decks, they just don't have any follow-up. If you break through with even...
Absolutely not true. The Man with the Mark is one of the most consistent decks, and it has a 1-card trap effect combo. Absolutely not true, and it has the best recursion in the game because of Anubis and Man in the field spell, and it all effects happen again and again and again each turn. Absolutely not true. So Man, the guy that abuses floodgates the most, has one of the best recursion in the game. As a matter of fact, people play him with Fiendsmith and Yummy, so they could have more recursion.
Even the tiniest of simple boards, then you're probably going to beat the stun player. And this is all if you even get there. The deck is just inconsistent and bricky. You're basically playing a gamba for the coin flip and then rolling the dice again to see if you got a hand that's more playable than just Fenrir in a dream. Then if you finally get good RNG on those first 2 rolls, you still have to make a 3rd roll to see if your floodgates are actually going to be useful against your opponent. Like if I set up in a Rise Heart and my opponent is playing Exo Sister or God forbid the Kashtira Mirror, then a Rise Heart...
God forbid your opponent is playing that 0.0000001% that the floodgate can't counter. Like, let's be honest, Shifter, you draw Shifter for turn, you destroy all decks. Yo, but Exo Sister, man, but Kashtira, man, who cares, bro? Nobody's out here playing Exo Sisters and Kashtira. Like, I'm gonna say it right away, bro. We're here playing the popular meta decks and the popular rogue decks and the underrated decks, right? There's a few Exo Sisters in there and a few Kashtiras in there, brother. So your 0.00001% example doesn't apply to all decks. Like, if I'm playing a Fiendsmith package and you have Macrocosmos in the field, I have to scoop, brother. I have to scoop. I'm forced to scoop.
is basically demoted to a bad Mirror Jade. But maybe it's just my deck choice, right? Because after all, Kashtira Primite has a lot of points where generic interruption can stop it. And that's not really in line with the strengths of traditional stun decks. A part of what makes a traditional stun deck so alluring is the fact that all of these hand traps are basically bricks when you just do Inspector Border set 4 pass.
True.
So let's try this again, but using as little activations as possible to not give our opponent any opportunity.
This is just bad. This is just bad deck building. It only rewards going first though. So you go first, you win. GG's. This is what this type of deck promotes.
To deal with us. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's honestly still just bad. Because the same issues still pop up. You're only presenting 1 or 2 pieces of a puzzle for your opponent to solve. And if they do solve it, then the deck has no plan B. So you're...
Also, I forgot to bring up the point. It's not fun to solve it. Like, you're not presenting me with something like... I'm over here, this is Yummy. Let's just say I'm playing Yummy and the opponent's playing Dragotail, and I'm going second on Yummy. And I've shown you a lot of ways I've board broken Dragotail on Yummy, right? And I'm over here playing Magnus Carlsen, right, of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's what Dragotail is, right? Like, it's very efficient, it's very fast, it's very good, it doesn't make any mistakes, right? Their effects are amazing. And then I'm over here trying to lose 1 turn with you having a Primate Drill Beam and a Super Poly set, brother. Like, I'm not having fun, bro. I'm just trying, I'm wasting time to beat you. Like, that's what it feels playing Floodgates anyways.
Just cooked. And like I said, there's very few games I've played with the deck where a Floodgate just outright prevented an opponent from playing. Did they have to go down an awkward line? Yeah, sure. But when I see them starting to play into it and finding that awkward line that works, I basically just have to sit there with my fingers crossed and hope a Solemn or an Iron Thunder is going to be enough to stop them. And spoilers, like half the time, it's usually not enough to stop them.
Yes, and your 0.0000001% chance, like, yeah, bro, my deck loses also in that 0.0001% chance to your style of deck. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, the exception is not the rule. The exception is not the rule. Just because you have played consistently into decks that beat the floodgates does not mean the floodgates are inherently good for the game.
And honestly, I think that does say a lot about floodgates. The fact that they need to be backed by Solemn Brigade because the opponent can still produce a threat under them shows that these floodgates are just not as auto-win as people.
No, you could literally have Omni negates behind your floodgates. You could search your floodgates. You could have lingering floodgates and effects with your deck too. When I play Dark Necromancer with my Yummy, I shut off either all monster, all spell, all trap effects. That's a lingering floodgate effect. That is a powerful effect for Yummy to have, right? So it's not that, oh, it's just an effect to have while in the game. No, it's like while in with a competent deck. Like if Yummy gets to just combo off with no monster effects, that is ridiculous.
Portray them as. And genuinely, I think people blow floodgates a little bit out of proportion. So then here's the next question. If floodgates are just okay, then why did Rose Whip need to get banned? And
because it's a searchable floodgate that is in a deck that could put out 4 Omni negates, brother.
This, to nobody's surprise, comes down to the fact that it's searchable in a non-dedicated stun deck. And if I'm being completely honest with you guys, I actually don't think Rose Whip was ever legitimately good in Cool Tune. It was just kind of a crutch, but I feel like ending on the Rose Whip just made your end board overall weaker in return.
It did not. As soon as they see Droplet / Super Poly in your hand, it would go Rose Whip and still have Zalen and potential to go into RS. What are you on about? Cool Tune, no matter the interruption, just as long as they're not bricked, will always end on Zalen Remix Pass. It's like the Triff rule, right? It's always Zalen Remix Pass, right? So I don't know what you're on about.
For being able to
You would have to face Rose Whip with Zalen Remix.
Sky Striker and Radiant Typhoon. And I'd rather just have a more versatile end board. I don't know, sue me. But having that option to search a floodgate off the end of a combo is usually what gets these floodgates banned. Like, stun decks aren't getting stun cards banned. Actually, I don't think a stun deck ever got any stun card banned. It's always been other decks getting floodgates banned. Which begs another question. If this floodgate that hasn't been relevant for basically a decade suddenly becomes bannable because of Cool Tune, is it Cool Tune Q's fault or is it Rose Whip's fault?
It's both. It's both, because Cool Tune summons Omni negates and it's able to special summon this floodgate, and the floodgate is able to play off the Omni negates. You can't just say, oh, this is this fault and this fault. No, it's both. Because the card exists, it makes the Omni negates just so much better.
And when you really stop to think about it, it's actually Q's fault, right? That same interaction that got Rose Whip onto the field is now just being used to search an Ash Blossom. We removed the floodgate, but that same interaction is still adding another puzzle piece that the opponent needs to solve by the...
Brother, I'd rather deal with an Ash in hand rather than a floodgate on the field. I'm sorry. Like, an Ash in hand is very easy to play around. Like, Ash is not as crazy as people put it out to be. Like, Ash is very easy, especially if I know you have it. Very easy to play around, brother. Very easy. Very easy to bait you to use it. My deck baits Ash all the time, brother. We're not losing to your drawn Ash Blossom. But yes, when you add Rose Whip, that's an issue. I can't use my Droplet.
The end of the end board. And again, personal opinion, it's probably just because of the decks I play, but I would much rather play against a Naturia Rose Whip than an extra Ash Blossom that they just added to their hand. But understandably, Konami can't just hit their new decks on the ban list, so Rose Whip goes away. But here's the thing, with Rose Whip
Rotary to
down,
0.
the puzzle didn't get easier to solve. It just changed a little bit. And unless you were a Radiant Typhoon player or a Sky Striker player, The Rose Whip wasn't actually doing anything that made Cool Tune easier or...
This is the thing. And I know he's a Magic player and he's recently gotten competitively into Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know like his retrospective on this whole thing, but brother, every deck has to use spells. Not just Raging Typhoon and Sky Striker. Yes, do they have a conglomerate of spells? Sure. Every deck needs spells, dog. My deck needs spells. That guy's deck over there needs spells. That guy's deck over there needs spells. Everybody needs to use spells. And the fact that your card says you could only use one of them, while you have even Omni Negates on the field, backed by Imperm, Valor in hand, Drool in hand, Ash in hand. Brother, how am I supposed to play the game? How am I supposed to play the game?
harder to beat. Like when you see people losing their minds every single day about floodgates online, it's pretty easy to get sucked into that mindset that floodgates are bad, skillless auto-win buttons.
They are.
And while they might be skillless, they're definitely not auto-win.
They are.
Floodgates are just an entirely feast
We've
of
explained
strategy
why.
that relies on you going first and then hoping that the floodgates are
Only if you play pure floodgates, brother. Like only if you play one of them. If you play all of them, you're goated, bro.
enough to just prevent the opponent from attempting to break the board outright. But if your opponent basically sticks anything with more than 2,000 attack into play, the stun deck player is basically going to lose the beatdown.
Dog, but you just explained. You play Kashira. You play Primite. No deck is beating down Primite and Kashira in attack. They're relatively mid tier in attack with other decks, dog. Like we mentioned Kultun. What is Kultun gonna do to beat down your Kashira monsters, dog? And also at other times, these floodgate players, they play Eldritch, they play Labyrinth. Those are 3,500 monsters on the field, bro. That can't be destroyed by card effect or battle. Yeah, just go to battle phase. Meanwhile, I have an unaffected Eldritch / Labyrinth on the field, dog. Let's just be serious, man.
And from what I've seen, even with multiple floodgates online, the opponent can usually still find a way to threaten your board. They're not out of the game because you flipped up 2 floodgates and shoved the middle finger in their face. And for what it's worth, I think floodgates are fine Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They're not completely garbage. But they aren't this boogeyman that's just gonna steal a game like everyone was letting me believe either. Floodgates just simply change the puzzle that needs to be solved.
Again, this is the crash coming through your house.
It doesn't make the puzzle unsolvable.
Just because it's not unsolvable doesn't mean it's fun. It's not competitive, it's not fun. Therefore, it should not be in the game. Like if you're trying to make a competitive, fun game, or just a fun game in general, and everybody knows floodgates are not fun, why are floodgates in the game? Give me one more example of why floodgates are in the game, other than so you could have that anime moment, like anime protagonist moment.
Too, if the stun player draws the nut, then yeah, you're probably not breaking that board. But if any deck draws the nut, you're probably not breaking their board. It just feels worse when stun is the one drawing the nut. Now, there's one very obvious elephant in this room that I need to bring up because I just haven't addressed it yet. And that's my personal bias on this because I play a best of 1 format. In best of 1, there's a risk with running floodgates where you're going to run into a matchup where the floodgates aren't going to work. But in best of 3 with a side deck, that's just not going to happen. These floodgates become silver bullets in the side deck where you just bring them in.
His point about the TCG is true, but his point about Master Duel is not true because there are, like I said, decks that benefit off of floodgates, and I have a 1-card turn skip combo with Man of the Mark. Man of the Mark has a 1-card turn skip combo, and I will show you. So it's like even in a best of 1, I don't need to side deck anything because with this Man of the Mark combo, it affects every single deck but mine. So it's like, I don't have to side deck anything, and it's a 1-card stun combo. Like, come on, let's be serious.
For game 2 and 3 to completely shut out a certain deck. This application of...
But his point about the side decking is very true. Like, most stun / floodgates, even Joel, you see Joel not even in the main deck sometimes, it's in the side deck.
Floodgates is a lot more toxic, and I agree that it opens up the debate a lot more because there's a lot of things you have to consider when these floodgates are being used as silver bullets in the side deck. And as much as I would love to discuss this, Honestly, it just kind of comes down to not my format, not my problem. And look,
That's crazy.
I'm sorry, I know people don't want to hear that, but realistically, like, I'm just not
I play
playing
Master Duel
paper
only
that
too.
often. I'm mostly playing Master Duel because that's what's convenient for me. And Konami recognizes that they're two separate formats as well with the separate ban lists. So I'm going to look at these cards from the perspective of a best of one format instead of best of one and best.
Which is best of one format is absolutely horrendous. Please, Konami, best of two, please. Just no, not best of two, excuse me, like best of three, bro. Just first to twos, ranked. You can make casual best of one, bro. Please, man.
And I'm sure when I start playing paper, I'm going to eat those words. But for now, we're going to leave it at that. But let's be real. For every card game I've ever played, the side deck is just a bunch of silver bullets. So, like, this is nothing.
There aren't silver bullets. The way you build your deck is how, like, you're talking about puzzles and everything. The way you build your deck is how you win most of your games. It's not no silver bullet. Your side deck is just as important as your main deck. Like, it's not just, oh, this card counters 10 pie, so I'm gonna have Ghost Spooky in my extra my side deck just in case I play that one 10 pie player in my locals. And once he special summons 10 pie, I'm gonna activate Spooky. That's not how that works, right? Like, your side deck is still gonna benefit off your main deck. It's still gonna be extra cards that your main deck can benefit all of. Speaking of which, I have in my side deck, if you shifter me, I'm able to add cards from my side deck to my main deck on Omega that are able to play through shifter after me knowing you have shifter. So it's not even that these are silver bullets, it's your dog shit floodgate forces me to play extra cards. Like, come on.
Really new anyway. For the stun players who's watching this video, I'm about to throw you a bone here because you guys have been getting ragged on this whole video, and you've been honestly getting ragged on for like a decade and a half at this point.
True.
Because since most floodgates can actually be played around, stun decks take a little more brain cells than you would actually think. You have no layered
This is just rage bait. This is just clickbait.
interaction, no follow-up, and honestly very little to do outside of those floodgates.
This is engagement
So
bait.
identifying where you need to point your limited forms of interruption actually does take a fair bit of knowledge. Not just of your deck, but of the game as a whole, because you really need to know where to stop these decks on these very niche backwards lines. And like I said, the deck has no follow-up either. You're basically relying on a top deck every turn like Yugi Moto himself. And when you have such a small pool of cards to actually work with,
Again, the problem is that you're just like playing gold floodgate decks. Brother, if you play a man deck that searches Tyrant Throws every single turn, yeah.
because nothing in stun really searches nothing else, managing your resources becomes a lot more important. And there's quite a bit of skill in managing your card economy in a deck that doesn't produce additional value. And that's it. That's the only compliment you guys get. I stand with you guys. I don't think you guys deserve to get deleted from existence, but I'm not standing with you in solidarity. I'm like way over here. I don't think you guys deserve all of this hate, but at the same time, I don't really vibe with your ideas either. But what I can tell you, stun players, is that the next time I queue against one of you, you can bet your ass that I'm going to be playing into your board. I now know how fragile your deck really is. And if you guys got to this point in the video, why not consider liking?
Okay, so to sum up his biggest points, shout out to the video. Go watch, like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Sum up his video. Floodgates are weak because they are one-ofs. So they are weak because you have to hope to draw them, and no deck effectively searches them after the Rose Whip ban. Okay, so you can't search them, they're effectively weak, blah blah blah. Alright, let's go play Eldritch in the solo mode and show you a one card Man of the Mark combo that skips your turn. That doesn't skip mine. Alrighty, here we are, guys, with the gameplay, and this is already a phenomenal hand. So whatever he was chatting about of, oh, stun players can't play this, stun players can't play this is a phenomenal ass hand. And look what I'm about to do with the opponent with this hand. Watch. So I'm gonna normal summon Man with the Mark, and I'm going to add obviously the field spell. I'm gonna activate Treasures of the King. I'm going to set a card that's gonna be Apophis the Serpent. We already have a trap in hand because we run all of them, which then is gonna activate Treasures to add a card from the deck to the hand. We're gonna add Merciless Scorpion Surcat. Surcat is gonna special summon by banishing a level 10. Here we are. And now Surcat is gonna add a Temple of the Kings. We're gonna activate Temple of the Kings. Easy. And then what we are gonna do is do this. We're gonna go Apophis, set the Swamp Deity, and then we are gonna go into Gallant Grand Knight. Now here already, let's just say you found a way to special summon Man with the Mark, which there is a lot of ways to special summon, but I won't get to them in this video. Here you would just add Fossil Dyna as well if you want to, because this is Grand Knight in the combo, right? But that's not what we're gonna add. Well, we're gonna add by discarding Apophis the Servant, because then he would get us the other level for it. We're gonna add Lord of the Heavenly Prison. Okay, and then we are gonna play Silhouette Rabbit. Okay, and then Silhouette Rabbit is going to set Apophis the Serpent. Okay, you're gonna activate Lord of the Heavenly. You know what? We don't care about Super Fall. We're setting Fallen to Virtuous. Okay. You're like, but Altair, where is the floodgate? You haven't floodgated the opponent. Ah, you are a bright one, my friend. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna activate Apophis. Apophis is gonna normal summon there. Okay, we're gonna go end. Keep in mind, this is revealed. Sure. I'm not even gonna use the Ash. Let me just use Apophis the Serpent first. Okay. Right. So I'm gonna use him, and then he's gonna set a negate. So this is gonna activate our Lord of the Heavenly Prison. So we're gonna activate the special summon. And then Lord of the Heavenly has this effect where, I don't know, it searches every spell and trap in the game. So we're gonna search Tyrant Throws, and then we're gonna dump down Tyrant Throws. And then we're gonna activate Tyrant Throws. It should have activated the turn he was special summoned, but it's fine. And now your turn skipped. You can't summon. Yeah, he can't summon. Fair and balanced. Oh yeah, let me draw another treasures. Oh yeah, beautiful. And you're like, wait, it affects you too. Hey, guess what? These count as normal monsters. So flip this up. Target that. Flip this up. You know what's funny is this guy is gonna negate that guy, okay? And then the most beautiful part of it all. So not only do we normal summon into 51,000 plus the Lord of the Heavenly, that was 8,000. If I didn't do the mistake, that was 8,000. We even do the Fallen and Virtuous now. We don't have to abide by our own rules. We could have even negated it. Who cares, bro? And now we play for the OTK. We play for the OTK. And keep in mind, you could search dimensional barrier, macrocosmos with that combo, whatever you need, like literally whatever trap, and then you get to activate it on your opponent's turn. The reason, because this is a best of one, like he mentioned, oh, you can't really be using floodgates in best of one. Tyrant throws, GG's. I skip everybody's turn. Yeah, I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, it's a searchable floodgate that was very easily searchable, because as you know, Man with the Mark is not just the only starter in this deck. It's him. You have 3, that's 6, 8 cards, 9, 10 cards to search this. Like, do whatever you want, bro. This into special summon. That's where I meant, where it's toxic, you just recycle it. Is this enough? It is enough. There you go. But come on, bro. Talking about how, you know, they're not searchable, bro. This is the thing. People don't look outside of Master Duel meta lists. Okay, people don't craft in this game. I sit in this game in deck building most of my time. Like, I'm not competitive, as in the fact like I just play, and you know, I grind rank and I grind prize pools, tournaments, etc. Most of my fun comes from deck building, and I know this aspect of the game where you could search just a floodgate based on a 1-card starter. But obviously, not a lot of people know this. But they're still they still put out an opinion of, oh, the floodgates are fair because they don't have this. Guess what? Man searches any floodgate in the game as a 1-card starter. Labyrinth searches any floodgate in the game as a 1-card starter. Man just does it better than Labyrinth, because I could like Labyrinth would not be able to play around Tyrant throws, but obviously Man can, because with Apophis and the others, they just count as normal monsters. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Well, there you guys have it. If you enjoy watching today's video, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, comment down below what you thought. No streams this week, guys, because I'll be away at EVO. By the time you're seeing this, I'll be in Las Vegas for the weekend competing in Street Fighter 6 for Outcast Esports. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.